Hello and welcome to Jason Talks Geek, a weekly show where I talk about geeky things with geeky people, and we have geeky discussions about them. And I have geeky guests like Ashley Victoria Robinson joining me today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me back.
All right. Yes, I brought you back. You were good enough in the first episode that I decided, let's try a third. All right, so let's jump into some of the geeky topics. But right off the bat, I think we want to pay some respects and some kudos to a major loss in the entertainment industry. Everyone out there, you probably have heard Anton, is it Yelkin? Yelchin.
I've heard both.
Okay, I'm just going to say Anton Yelkin, because I've heard that more. He sadly passed away this weekend in a very sad accident, but we wanted to throw our kudos out to the actor who, for me, made me love Chekhov.
I will second that. And I think for a lot of people who didn't grow up with the original Star Trek series, he really brought a lot of fascinating things to that character.
And again, no disrespect to Walter Koenig.
Not at all.
We are huge Star Trek fans. That's why we made a Star Trek web series. But Anton Yelkin found for me the quintessence of Chekhov.
Oh, that's lovely.
Like, he found the perfect way to make Chekhov relevant in the 21st century. And I think it's a loss for the entertainment industry that he's gone.
I do. And I also want to recommend, if you're looking for a non-Star Trek movie, he does an independent movie with Jennifer Lawrence called Like Crazy. That's really, really beautiful and worth checking out.
There you go. All right, so let's hop right into the geek topics. Mad respect to you, sir, in the great Milky Way Alpha Quadrant of Beyond.
Nice.
There you go. All right, so let's hop into some geeky topics. I don't know if you heard about this, Ashley, but there's a little thing called Justice League.
Oh, that's like a team of justice people, right?
Yes, and it's the league.
Oh, a league.
They're not,
sorry.
They don't call themselves a team. They call themselves a league.
Team.
They went crazy bonkers and told us so much about this movie.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers last week had a bunch of reporters from a bunch of different sites. I was not one of them. And
I wasn't either.
a bunch of news sites, a bunch of things. Took to London, and they talked about the Justice League movie. So they got to see like costumes. They got to see finished scenes. They got to watch a scene being filmed. And there's so much to process about this. I took out some pieces about the Justice League movie. There's not an official synopsis. There's a logo out there now. We're going to talk about a little bit of the things that I thought was interesting in it, and then we're going to have a little discussion at the very end about it.
Okay.
So, some of the reports, Screen Rant, Collider went, comicbook.com went. Let's talk about little pieces of this movie. So, Justice League apparently is going to involve a lot of mother boxes. Now, Ashley, what are mother boxes in the DC Comics universe?
This is a mother box. They're a tool of Darkseid that goes ping, ping, ping.
This is a mother box from DC Collectibles, by the way.
Yes.
They are the thing that allows you to travel to the mother box. And it was revealed that they are going to be kind of the crux of this storyline, that you're going to find out that there are like 3 mother boxes on Earth. We already saw one in Batman v Superman.
We sure did.
So there are 3 mother boxes. Humans, there's a human mother box. Their mother box is bronze and looks straight from the comic books. There's an Atlantean mother box. It matches the underwater look of Atlanteans with lots of seashells.
Seashells?
Apocalyptic seashells. And then there's one that is Amazonian. It looks bright red in color, and it has like Greek text. It was also confirmed that Steppenwolf, who we saw in a released clip of Batman v Superman, who is also going to be in the Ultimate Cut, is going to be the villain of this movie. Steppenwolf and Parademons that we saw in Batman v Superman. If you don't know who Steppenwolf is, do you know who Steppenwolf is?
I know that he is a minion of Darkseid.
Well, he is not actually he does work for Darkseid.
Yes.
But he is actually Darkseid's uncle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he's basically kind of the leader and the strategist of Darkseid's army. He also has, if you want to look out for some great Darkseid stories, he gets trapped on Earth in the Earth 2 New 52 series.
Oh,
and
cool.
he's kind of the villain. And you'll see he has the horns. He's more mortal looking. Like, he doesn't look like a giant monster. Like
Right.
But I get it. It's a movie. You got to make him look scary, okay? They also filmed a scene. Apparently, all these reporters got to see a scene where it was Commissioner Gordon, J.K. Simmons, like the classical like comics, and he was on the rooftop. He put on the bat signal, and he got to talk to Batman and some super friends.
Nice.
And it was Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Aquaman, joined by Cyborg, and they talked about that the parademons are kidnapping people and stuff like that. So, from what I've told you so far, Ashley,
yes.
What are you thinking about? We got one more thing we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
What are your basic impressions? Are you excited by this, or like, are you like, just basic thoughts?
Well, the number one thing I'm concerned about is that I've never ever seen J.K. Simmons with hair, other than as J. Jonah Jameson. So I think it's gonna look super weird, and that's gonna take me a moment to get my head around. Like, I really hope it's the whipped cream hair from the animated series.
Okay.
I love the idea that we are finally getting a classic Batman and Gordon interaction. The Nolan movies do a really, really good job at highlighting their relationship, but there is something to where it looks and feels like what you're used to for the comics. It just hits home a little bit more.
We were missing the fedora.
Yes, yeah, and the cigar. And I am fascinated by the team and how the team is going to come together, because the way that you build your extended universe is very integral, and if they're uniting around a bunch of scientists who might be getting kidnapped, then that's a really, really strong through line for all the characters to come together. That's what I'm most fascinated by, and it seems like they're pretty early on in filming. They might come together pretty quick, assuming they're filming in sort of a linear way, which they might not be.
Yeah, I believe that the reports that I read, specifically Screen Rant, and I might be getting the numbers wrong, they said that they were like a day 30 of filming, and they still have 100. Their whole shoot is 110 days.
Wow.
So we're still in like the first third of filming.
Yes.
But it kind of seems like to me that the Jim Gordon scene seems like there's usually a scene in every movie, and you guys know what this is. It's called the blueprint scene.
Yes.
And in Star Wars Episode 4, it's the scene where we watch the plans from R2, where it's like, you must go down the chasm, and you got to shoot it in a hole this small.
This big, yeah.
It's basically where the characters reveal to the audience what the final act is going to be. And then we get to see how the characters basically get in trouble, because we're like, no, the final act's supposed to go ABC. Now it's going AXK. And that's not, no. And that's where the drama comes from.
And that's what you think this rooftop scene is?
That's what I think it is.
Wow.
I really do. I think this is the beginning of the third act. I also think they showed it because I think Warner Brothers wanted to prove to these reporters and to these reports. They wanted these reports. Like, these reports are nothing but a good thing.
There's a very specific reason why they saw this scene. It's not what they happened to be shooting that day.
No. They planned it specifically, I think, because they wanted to prove, hey, we got a fantastic Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
And he's great. They wanted to show the reporters all the Justice League together.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And I think they wanted to be like, this is them going on.
I also think they wanted to highlight that Superman, because we all know Superman is coming back. Superman is not coming back in the first act of this movie, at least. I think that was an important thing for them to impart.
Yeah. Very lastly, let's talk about, they also were, a lot of the reports talked about the Justice League Flash costume.
Yes.
They said that the costume this is a quote from Screen Rant, the costume is very red in color, much more vibrant than Grant Gustin's costume from the Flash TV series, and it features a layer of thin plastic-looking armor panels. It's designed with function in mind, aerodynamic by necessity, hence the shape of the helmet and the astrofoils on the shoulders which direct air backwards. And there are also high tensile wires all over the suit holding it together and helping conduct the electricity that the Flash generates when moving at super speeds. Now, that sort of sounds a little bit like the Injustice costume.
It does. And I think based on what we saw in BVS, you could extrapolate that it's going to be a similar design to that.
I like the idea that it's more primary in color.
You want your bright red Flash suit?
Yes. I also wonder if that's going to function into, I think this, the movie, I don't want to call it BVS, but Justice League.
Yes.
Could really set itself apart if they treat their Flash like Kingdom Come.
Yes.
And by that I mean, is in Kingdom Come, the Flash at that point is moving at so fast speed. He has so much speed force powers that he is just a constant red blur.
Yeah.
And I think that if they wanted to make themselves distinct from the TV show, they would just make him this red blur that comes through in speeds, and then we zoom in and see slow motion very quickly of him just like bow, like or punch, and then we go back to the shoot, 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 shoot. So like in all your wide, because you know they're gonna do like a wide action like Avengers. You see like Batman punching a parademon, Wonder Woman using the lasso and stuff like that. They did something very similar in BVS where they went into Batman shooting the gun and Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman, and then they went back to Superman like laser vision or whatever. I can't remember what they did with Superman.
He was going to charge the spear. It was
there you go. There you go. They could do something like that, where it's like the wide page spread from Ultimates and Ultimates 2, where Brian Hitch did this amazing like 8-page spread, and in every page, Quicksilver was there.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could do something like that with Flash, where you just see this red blur coming through every shot.
I really like the idea that the costume has been built with functionality in mind, because as great as the TV costume is, there's no way that you can put that on comfortably or at any speed. I don't care if you're a speedster, because it's basically a piece of leather. So I think that a bunch of small platelets,
I still to this day,
like scaly armor, is neat.
I still to this day will give mad credit to Grant Gustin
for putting that suit on.
Well, no, not for putting that suit on, because I'm certain he has costume helpers, and they're great people. No, but I can't imagine how hot that costume is.
Oh yeah.
Like that costume, and the fact that he's able to give a great performance inside that costume.
Definitely.
Whew, that's acting right there.
And mad props to the makeup people who do last looks.
Can you imagine how much baby powder that guy uses? All right, let's move it on. So there's a bunch more Justice League news out there. You guys can go find it, like even more detailed reports on Birth Movies Death, Collider, comicbook.com, Screen Rant. That's specifically where I pulled from, Screen Rant. So let's move into our discussion piece for this.
Okay.
I don't really want to break down anything more. You can read more reports and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk about the stuff that I thought was interesting. So we revealed a lot of Justice League stuff. With all that, what's one thing that you hope to see in Justice League that wasn't revealed? Is there any piece that you're like, man, I really hope we see an interaction between these two characters that has this flavor? I really hope there's a cameo from this person. Is there anything in this that you feel that you really want to see?
I really want a cameo by whoever is going to be the Green Lantern, because we have not had it confirmed yet who the Green Lantern is going to be.
And they've kind of said in the reports, and they could be lying, no Green Lantern in this movie.
Right. They could be people lie. And one of the things that I really love from one of my favorite Justice League stories is Grant Morrison's JLA's, the interaction and the friendship between Flash and Green Lantern.
Kyle Rayner, Wally West.
Yes, which is a good chance we're getting different Green Lanterns than those two, but I think that setting them up as kind of the jokesters of this universe is a really powerful and thoughtful move. So whoever it's going to be, if it's just like, if you see that Barry is friends with a dude named Hal, or a dude named John, or a dude named Guy, or like I would love that Easter egg of they are connected through Barry Allen to the Justice League.
Can I throw out an idea to you?
Please.
One of the reports they also revealed, they show the scene where Bruce Wayne recruits Barry Allen.
Yeah, very cool.
And Barry Allen is very jokey in the movie. Like he's very like there. A lot of people are saying that he's going to be like the Spider-Man of this movie universe. Let's say at the end of that scene, he gets a call on his cell phone. And the cell phone says, Hal, and he denies it. Is that enough of a cameo?
That is enough. I would love to see the actor, of course, but just a nod, because we know Green Lantern is coming, and Green Lantern for me is a seminal part of the Justice League.
Yes.
So to not have him or her be involved in this movie, I think is a little strange for my taste, but I understand based on the previous movie why you might want to set up your team first.
I kind of have the idea from Green Lantern Corps and everything like that. I'm kind of predicting, I'm going to throw this out there right now, that the Green Lanterns are going to set up phase 2 of whatever this movie universe is.
So they're going to be like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like they're going to have their little thing right here that runs concurrent to the Justice League thing over here?
I kind of feel, I'm getting the feeling right now, and I could be completely proven wrong, and I hope I am because I love Green Lantern. I could see us going part 1 and part 2 not seeing a Green Lantern.
Wow.
And I could see us getting a hint of Green Lantern in part 2 of Justice League, which they also that was part of the thing too. They confirmed that it's not going to be a part 1 and part 2.
It is a standalone movie.
It's basically going to be Justice League 1 and Justice League 2.
Yeah.
But I could see us not getting a hint of any Green Lanterns until Justice League 2, because that's the Green Lantern Corps is going to come out like a year after 2.
Yeah.
But I could see the Green Lantern Corps movie setting up the whole phase 2, which I don't know if they'll call it phase 2, and I don't think they're doing any phases, but like the next section, the next wave of DC movies. Because imagine this. How crazy would it be if the next wave of DC movies deals with the spectrum of lanterns?
Love it.
Like,
done.
The yellow lanterns are coming to Earth. Or even, let's go crazy town, the black lanterns are coming to Earth.
Ooh, that would tap really nicely into the zombie zeitgeist of it all. And you already have a Carol Ferris, so you've already set up your Star Sapphires.
Yep. Yeah, you've already set up your Star Sapphires. You already set up things. One thing that I really want to see in Justice League.
What?
That from these reports, I don't think we're getting.
Aww.
Superman.
Nah, we're gonna get Superman, but Superman is gonna be the last scene, or he's gonna be like a stinger, But I think you're right. I do not think Henry Cavill is a main part of this movie.
I don't think he's in this movie. I think he's the twist of the second act. I think because there is multiple Superman storylines where Darkseid controls Superman.
Yes,
I think they're going to say that Superman either came back to life and he was converted by the Apocalyptians, or they brought him back to life.
Interesting.
And I think I think he's going to be the twist. I think the Justice League's going to unite, and they're going to be like, here we go. We're going to punch you in the face, Steppenwolf. They're going to open up Steppenwolf's door. Superman's standing there.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I hope they're exactly like that.
I think they go, I think he's the twist. I don't think he's in this movie that much.
Interesting.
And for me, I'm a little sad.
As a Superman guy.
As a Superman guy wearing a Harley Quinn shirt, I'm a little sad about that because the Justice League movie is going to happen without Superman in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Superman is their seminal leader. He's their greatest leader. So I think that's very interesting.
But from a cinematic universe, like, that's a hell of a second act twist.
Totally.
So I understand why you do it, because like that is going to decimate Batman.
And Wonder Woman.
Like they're just going to be like, they won't know how to fight him.
Well, and if you set up like Cyborg or Flash to be big like Superman fanboys, one of them, that could be a really interesting way too to have them have to overcome an emotional obstacle.
Because you could stop everyone on your team except for Aquaman. Like, I could see Aquaman being like
I'm good, I'll get him.
I shall vanquish you, Chrome!
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they'll all be running. Superman shows up, and then they all like skitter to a stop, and Aquaman's just like,
for Valhalla! Yes, I know I'm making Conan references because I don't care.
And then he sprays his mouth.
I am very excited by all the Justice League theft. I like the star logo. I
love that logo. It's a great logo.
I think sending the reporters to set was a smart move. And because, to be honest with you, I got really excited about Justice League, and I really now, like, they did the set visit, and I want Justice League at Christmas.
Oh God, me too.
Can Justice League come out this Christmas?
Yes.
I don't want to wait a whole year or year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. So all good news about the Justice League. Let's move on to our next geek topic, because there's only one other story really that could even come close to topping the Justice League, and that is all the stuff that we learned about Star Wars, Rogue One, a Star Wars. What the hell?
Rogue One, a Star Wars.
Star Wars. I hate the title.
I do
okay.
too.
Here we go. Entertainment Weekly did a big cover story about Rogue One where they revealed a bunch of stuff. Basically, they confirmed that Darth Vader is going to be in the movie.
Yes.
They named all the characters.
Yes.
James Earl Jones is returning as the voice of Darth Vader. So his final Darth Vader line will no longer be, no.
You know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
But the interesting part of this story for me was they confirmed who Forrest Whitaker is playing in the movie.
Did.
He is playing a character we've seen in the Star Wars universe before. His name is Saw Gerrera, and he was actually seen in season 5 of the Clone Wars animated series, which, by the way, if you have not watched that show, you're a fan of that show, right?
I love that show.
It's a good show. He was a young man on that show on the planet of Odoron, and he was basically fighting guerrilla combat against a droid army. We saw him and his sister Steela. They were part of an insurgent group that were trained by Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Padawan Ahsoka Tano. Now, the reason why I would bring this up is because I think this brings up some very interesting possibilities for the Star Wars live-action universe.
I think it sure does.
I think it's a nice nod to connect your universe, to make your Clone Wars fans feel a little bit more connected to this movie.
It also tacitly allows that this Clone Wars show is in continuity, which Rebels already had done.
Clone Wars had been stated in continuity, but no. Clone Wars had already been confirmed as part of continuity.
I thought Clone Wars was washed away in that
No.
thing.
Clone Wars and Rebels were the only two that were saved. And Clone Wars was only saved because like George Lucas actually participated in the making of the show. So Clone Wars is in continuity of this show. So this is the question for you.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what Star Wars animated character you would like to appear in a live-action Star Wars movie, or an anthology one, or an episode. So I want to know: do you want to see them in an anthology like Rogue One, or do you want to see them in like Episode 8, Episode 9, stuff like that? Who's the character that you want to see from these animated things? Because again, they have a great way to tie these series in, and I would not be surprised. I would be blown away, in fact, if they do not put Saw Gerrera in the next season of Rebels. If we don't see him and he looks like Forrest Whitaker, I would not. It would blow me away.
Looks like young Forrest Whitaker.
Well, because the next season of Rebels should come out in the fall,
right? Which
right before the movie. And what great publicity stunt would you not do if you threw him into one episode and even got Forrest Whitaker to voice him?
Totally.
So what character do you want to appear in a Star Wars live-action movie?
Okay, so I have a character in mind, and I have two possible ways to include them in the cinematic universe. So I think that Ahsoka Tano, it would be a crime if she were not included in the movie. She is Anakin's Padawan, who we saw throughout Clone Wars and who is now leading the charge in Rebels.
Arguably the greatest female character in the Star Wars universe.
I don't even think arguably. I think the greatest female character in the Star Wars universe. I'm stating it right here, right now. Come at me. I think that there would be two really interesting ways to include her, and one of those would be you could give her a great standalone solo movie, because I'm really sorry, we don't need a Han Solo standalone solo movie. We know a ton of stuff about him. We know all the most interesting things about him. Ahsoka has huge chunks of her life that you get back in here. She has huge chunks of her life that could be explored in a fascinating way, like when she left the Jedi Order right before all that stuff went down. And I also think that you could include her in like episode 9 or 10 or 15 or 25, because I think it would be fascinating if the question with Ahsoka is, does she die? Does she get to live? Because you would think
past the original trilogy.
Past the original trilogy, because you would think that Darth Vader, as powerful as he is, would find her out and kill her. If he doesn't, I would love for it to be revealed that she's been living with Luke in his seclusion all these years.
Ooh, I don't like that at all.
I don't need them to be like together, but I think it would be cool if they were like allies or if they were in the same place. I would really, really like to see that, because I think it would be fascinating that Anakin's Padawan somehow had an interaction and a relationship with Anakin's son. I would really like to see that. I don't know how long Togrutas live, so she might not be around anymore.
Now, devil's advocate.
Sure.
Well, one, I don't think Ahsoka survives.
I don't think she does either.
She does not live to A New Hope. She's
do not.
Dead. She's dead as dead as dead.
Not confirmed, though.
The other flip I would put is, do you think Disney Star Wars fans would accept a Star Wars movie led by an alien?
Oh, well.
Because, I will throw this out there, we have had 5 Star Trek TV series, 12 movies, not a single one led by an alien. You're not
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But for a long time, we also thought that Star Wars movies had to be all led by young white guys, and we just had the most successful, and yes, inflation, Star Wars movie of all time, led by a female and a British African man.
We're gonna get a second movie led by
right, and then a Guatemalan guy. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm pretty sure that we could be a little more accepting in the Star Wars universe. Now, if you lead off a movie with an alien character, their second in command has to be a human.
Yes.
I get it, but I think that if you want to be brave enough to make that step, Ahsoka would be a great character to do it with, because fans already really like her. She has a history in the universe, and they have a great look.
I would put...
But a difficult question, for sure.
I do not see an Ahsoka Tano movie...
It would be so good, though.
...ever happening. I never see that movie happening. I think if we're going to see Ahsoka, the coolest way to do it would be to have in episode 9, Rey finds a Jedi temple and there's a holocron of her.
Or we see her as a Force ghost or
the
something.
Force ghost. That's the way. That's the only way I think you'll see her. And I think it'd be really cool for them to lock her into live action. To let us see her.
And the cool thing about her being an alien is that if you wanted, you could cast Ashley Eckstein, the voice actress.
Mocap it.
And mocap it, or just stick her in a bunch of makeup.
Yep.
You could still have it be the Ahsoka that we all know.
Yep. My character, an anime character that I would love to see, and I want to see him in episode 8, 9, 10, whatever.
Sure.
He can be ageless. Because we saw him in the prequels, and then we saw him right before the original trilogy, so he's appeared multiple times. He's a rogue, he's a scallywag, he's Hondo Onaka. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, he's this alien with gray skin, and he has a lot of scales, sort of looks like a Jem'Hadar, but he kind of talks like this a little bit. And he's a beard, and he's a funny guy. And I think you could go to a spaceport. He could be in Maz Kanata's bar in Force Awakens for all we know. But you could go to a spaceport and there's just, oh, you're trying to sell me this thing? I don't believe I've dealt with the Jedi, my friend. I don't want anything to do with you. I just think he would be a really nice nod to the animated series. You could have him in one scene and every Clone Wars and Rebels fan would go crazy. And you know what? He would be the humor of that scene.
Well, and the great thing about him is that he's not tied to any specific thing in continuity. Yes, he has appearances, but he's not as mired as Ahsoka is.
No.
So you could drop him in anywhere.
You could drop him in anywhere and it wouldn't matter. And again, any scene you put him in, his character is funny. He's one of the few animated characters, and sometimes animated shows try to do funny characters and they're not any good. He's been funny every time.
And again, you can use the same voice actor so that you tie the two continuities together.
And you can mocap him. And you can mocap him. Yeah. And there's nothing to say that his character couldn't be like a 200-year-old alien.
Sure. Or just make him look older.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. Now, before we hit the next section going over your super questions, I want to remind you that for every Jason Talks Geek, there's a Jason Talks More.
What?
That's right. And if you go support the show at patreon.com/Jawin, you can get to see that Jason Talks More with Ashley 2 weeks earlier. 2 weeks earlier than everybody else. That's everybody on YouTube gets to see it, but you get to see it 2 weeks earlier. You're going to be part of the cool kids. And you get to support the show and get all kinds of extras like Geek History Lesson Extra, which is our Patreon exclusive podcast, all over there. Patreon.com/Jawin is the way you can support Jason Talks Geek. And I thank everybody over there that does that. Let's move on in to the super questions.
Woo!
Guys, you can send questions to us all the time. Anytime, any day or night, from any country, using the hashtag JasonTalksGeek, or you can just find it to me at Jawin on Twitter. We're going to jump right into your questions. Our first question actually comes from the YouTube comments of last week's video.
Ooh, YouTube comments.
Malcolm Jeffrey says, hey, keep these epi coming, Jason. I'm going to assume he means episodes. His question is, if you were able to kill a character in comics permanently and have them never come back, who do you choose? And how do you kill them? So he specifically wants to know the method of death.
All right.
Malcolm Jeffries, I want to know the method of death.
This is no question for me. This is a really, really easy answer. I would kill Deadpool because I think Deadpool's a very overrated character.
Okay.
And people use Deadpool and Deadpool cosplay as an excuse to behave poorly. And I think that that's a really crummy thing to do. I don't think he offers anything of value as a character.
I don't think his death stops the cosplay, though.
But it will eventually because it will fade from continuity.
Okay, sure. How do you kill him? He wants to know how you kill him.
I go back in time and I steal Rob Liefeld's original pitch and I rip it up in my hand so Deadpool never existed in the first place.
All right, a lot of Deadpool hate coming from this side of the screen. No Deadpool hate coming from this side of the screen, so please direct your comments to that side of the screen. Mine is also going to be pretty hateful, actually, but it's not Deadpool. Mine is Barry Allen, the Flash.
Oh, I'm not hating on Barry Allen, the Flash, on this side of the couch.
And how do I kill him? I kill him how he originally died on Crisis on Infinite Earths. That death is so impactful and means so much that to me... look, I'm fine with Barry Allen being our Flash now, but Wally West is my Flash.
Yeah, me too.
And the story of how Wally West grew up into being the Flash will always mean the most to me.
It's one of the greatest Flash stories of all time.
And that death, I think, is so impactful that I wish they never undid it.
I mean, I would argue that Barry's death in Crisis is the best thing he ever did.
Well, let's not go that far. But to me, it's a death of Uncle Ben proportions. It's a death of Martha and Thomas Wayne proportions because it means so much to Wally. And here's my other thing, my other couch, because everybody's probably out there yelling at me like, but how can you have him on the TV show in the movie? Look, you can have a Barry Allen in the TV show. You can have a Barry Allen in the movies, and you can still have a Wally West in The Flash, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, completely.
It doesn't matter because you know what? There are many characters in those Marvel movies that are dead, and they're still in those movies.
Yeah, and in the DC TV shows as well. That's the great thing about having different mediums to play across.
But that's the character because to me, Wally West is my Flash, and that story of Wally West growing up to live up to this example of the uncle that saved the world is so meaningful that's why I would have left Barry Allen dead.
Fair enough.
I would kill Barry Allen.
That's a good argument.
Yep. Next question. Nate Olson says, what upcoming comic movie or TV show would you like to do a cameo or guest star on, and who would you play? This is a great question.
It is.
Ashley, what is your cameo?
So this is a really easy one for me. So since the BBS Ultimate Cut, somebody revealed that Jenna Malone is not Barbara Gordon, that means that rolls up for grabs. And I would love to play Barbara Gordon, again, even if...
Pre or post wheelchair?
I'll be in the wheelchair.
You want to be Batgirl or you want to be Oracle?
Look, I would love to be Batgirl, but Oracle, and I've said this before, is a disabled character who's the most powerful character in all of DC Comics. So I'll sit in the chair.
Sure.
That'd be fine. But I mean, being Batgirl would be cool. But even if it was just like if I was in that party scene, like the Lex party scene, and you walk through and have a little conversation with Ben Affleck and like, bye Barbara, bye, bye Bruce, like that'd be good enough for me.
Okay.
I would really like to be Barbara.
You just want to say
Gordon.
bye Bruce to Ben Affleck. I almost call him Bruce Affleck.
Bruce Affleck, yeah, and I want to kiss
Bruce
Nightwing,
Ben Affleck.
so it'll be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah, how about you?
My cameo is very appropriate.
Okay.
I want to play Jack Ryder on Arrow.
Ooh.
Now, if you don't know who Jack Ryder is a news reporter from Gotham City. He can be from whatever city, but he eventually turns into the weird, crazy, zany character, the Creeper, because he goes insane.
Yes.
I want to appear, and I think I have the accolades on Arrow Season 5 as Jack Ryder. And I just want to be like on the TV screen for the Channel 52 thing, with a little thing that says Jack Ryder.
Nice.
That's all. And Jack Ryder might have appeared on Arrow already. Whatever, recast.
They've done it before.
But here's my evidence for why I should. Now you have to ignore the beard. But I have a picture from the animated series. He's on Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Jack Ryder. Okay, we're gonna do a screen grab. Here we go. I think we look similar. There you go. That's my evidence. Let's move on to the next question.
Nice.
So hashtag all the Arrow writers room and be like Jason Inman should be Jack Ryder. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Jason for Jack.
You know, like Stephen Amell and I have talked once before.
Yeah.
Okay. Murphy L at Spider-Man 1991, as his favorite year of Spider-Man comic books. He says, what is your favorite title from Marvel right now?
My favorite title from Marvel right now is a little alternate universe called Spider-Gwen, because I always really liked Gwen Stacy, and
we have a Spider-Gwen pop vinyl right here.
that's right. I love Gwen Stacy, although Spider-Man Blue was kind of... That was she agrees with me. She's very happy. Spider-Man Blue was kind of, for me, one of her best appearance, and I think making her a spider character in another universe is literally the coolest thing that you could have done with that character in the confines of the Spider-Man world. And for a book that's written by a bunch of dudes, they're killing it. It's so good. It's so pretty. It always comes out on time.
That's cool.
And it comes out promptly in trades as well. So definitely Spider-Gwen.
It's interesting you brought up the spider character because my favorite title of Marvel right now is Amazing Spider-Man by Dan Slott. I like that.
We also have a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like that Peter Parker has Parker Industries now. I like that he's this mogul. He's this Tony Stark. It makes sense for the character. Also, I really love Silver Surfer by Dan Slott. Like, I'm loving everything Dan Slott actually is doing at Marvel right now, and I think it's some of the strongest stuff. Spider-Gwen is a good book.
It is a great
book. But Amazing Spider-Man and Silver Surfer I like a little bit better. Those are my favorite titles at Marvel. I like the little pocket things. I don't like the interconnected stuff. I like the little pockets.
I do too. I'm also reading Silk and Miss Marvel, which are really great, and they are self-contained self-contained stories in the same way.
Great. All right, let's move on to quick review. That's where we take one thing we've read, watched, listened to, whatever, that made an impact on this week, and we tell it to you. So really quickly, Ashley, what is one thing that you watched, read, or listened to this week that you think is really good and everybody out there should check out?
So I have been binge watching the first season of
big watching
of Bloodline, which is a Netflix original series about a family's dynamic set in Florida, and their screw-up brother comes home, and it's about whether or not he is going to be allowed to stay. And you see in the first episode what his siblings do to him, and then the story's reverse engineered to see how we got to this point.
Interesting.
It's so good, and it's full of all these character actors that aren't on a network show right now, which is a travesty. If you are a Freaks and Geeks fan, it's worth checking out for that. And you can watch 20 episodes
or
at
you're
your
an early
leisure.
edition fan.
Or an early edition
You know that
fan.
reference? Anybody know that reference? Early edition. Just throwing it out there.
So yeah, Bloodline.
Nice.
What do you got?
I've been rereading an old comic book because I've been trying to write a story with a similar kind of like feel and tone, and that is Echoes by Joshua Hale Fialkoff. And I don't know how to say this artist's name.
Rasan Ekdahl.
Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Oh, great. This is by Top Cow. It's a murder mystery. It's about, basically the setup is that this guy's father is dying, and with his dying breath, he's like, I murdered all these people. There you go. And so the son has to basically deal with that revelation. It's has a lot of great twists and turns and a lot of great character moments. And if you are looking for a good murder mystery, this is the one to pick up. It's really good. I like it. Echoes. All right, so that is it for Jason Talks Geek. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe. And guys, don't forget to go over to patreon.com/John if you want more Ashley Victoria Robinson. Ashley, where can they find you if they want more Ashley Victoria Robinson, more Spider-Gwen talk?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley B. Robinson. You can find me at facebook.com/AshVictoriaRobinson. Listen to the Geek History Lesson podcast every week, and you can find me Tuesdays and Thursdays hosting Comic Book Now live on comicbook.com's Facebook site.
Yes, and I mentioned it already once before, but remember, you have to click subscribe if you want more Jason Talks Week every single week. I'm Jason Inman, and I'll be seeing you next week.